we talk about contract storage, which again is a very generic term, but ultimately you do, and I'm a corporate lawyer, so I guess we do deals. Real estate, I'm sure, is the same. Banking and finance transactions, all that kind of stuff. Ultimately, you're left at the end of a transaction, hopefully with a happy client, but a whole bundle of documentation, a piece of paper, really, whether they're PDFs or whatever. And we've heard from our clients and prospects that there are all manner of solutions that people have. There are some very high-tech kind of document management systems and that kind of thing, none of which are particularly, let's say, clever or smart in the way that they handle things. And I'll come on to what that means. But all the way through to, yeah, they just go and sit in someone's inbox and you hope that they don't lose their laptop or leave it on the train, frankly. And I know that a big part of the corporate lawyer's life, if you're in-house, I guess you're asking your external counsel to do this. If you're private practice, you are creating the Bibles or bundles or whatever they are for the end of the transaction. So maybe just thinking about how you guys, or what you guys would like when it comes to simply storing your documents, but then how do you want to be able to use them after, do you want them just to sit there? Would you want them to pop up in 2 years' time and tell you, hey, there's a renewal about to happen? Maybe Radhika, how do you guys think about this internally? What kind of solutions do you have, would you like?
Contract storage for us, Jake, isn't just about finding a place for its home, for it to just sit there. It's very much needing to be a document that we look at back and forth, depending, of course, the type of document it is. For example, if you've just got a framework agreement, you do need to refer back to it. And if you've got a statement of work that sits under it, there'll be potentially a number of change orders. So there's constant management of a contract that's required. So for us, contract storage is not just finding a home, it's a way to interact with it in the most, again, efficient way possible. What we want from a contract management system is for it to proactively notify you about things. For example, as you've just mentioned, a renewal. You've got a renewal coming up, or a document's about to expire. So someone has to then go and speak to the customer and say, right, do you further require our services? Let's reassess your needs. So, we need that type of system to be there. Also, quite simply, sometimes you've just got notification requirements. Sometimes you've got weekly or monthly or quarterly reports that a customer might require. So it's these types of distinct elements that come out from a contract that you really do need a system to proactively inform you about. But parking that to one side, what I think we really want is, it always gets everyone really interested to talk about this, is we want to be able to ask questions of the contract. Sounding a bit robotic, but we want to be able to ask questions of the contract, such as what does the audit clause say, or what are the payment terms on this document, or does this document cover X type of our business unit sales services. So you want to be able to quickly and efficiently question the contract as and when you need to. So I think that's what we look for in our contract storage management type tools.
Super helpful. And how about you, Larry? How do you think about it from a kind of private practice perspective?
Yeah, I suppose it's less about, in terms of talking about contract storage, it's more that I'm coming at it from a sort of transactional perspective. So for doing due diligence on the documents that we store in our data platform, what Radhika was just talking about then, using the question. So what I've done with our system is created, so rethought the way that we did due diligence, and that I was always taught it, with your questionnaire, and you send it out, you get your answers and you put it back in. We've created a kind of a new process within the system where the question and answers are all uploaded into an interactive Excel spreadsheet, I suppose you could call it, and linked to the document. So gone are the days of, well, I don't know if you ever did that, but I spent a lot of hours as a junior person doing cross-referencing and cross-reference updates and question updates and further inquiries and that kind of thing. So it's all accessible. So I think the word that keeps on coming back to me about document storage is accessibility and collaboration, because really I want a place where I can put documents that are the deal documents to be negotiated, and I want a place to have the disclosure bundle that we can refer to and search and use. So I want it all to be in one product in a way, but I haven't quite been able to find that. But using a product to be able to answer the question, so that when you've got those due diligence questions that you have to answer or disclose, you're not there going through hundreds of contracts looking for the change of control, which is really boring. You can just ask the question and it points you in the right direction. With obviously it would be great if we could just do it completely, but you know, hopefully you can get a product that can sort of machine learn and get used to those kind of clauses and become more productive in that sense. So that, yeah, I want a whole place where that can happen, and where you can even put your live documents and do that sort of live negotiation at the same time. So it's like a deal room, but not virtual. I didn't think of the virtual one, but that is the ideal, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah.
Larry, would you, just sorry, if you don't mind, Jake, if I just ask a question, because one of the things that we do also explore for our contract storage is obviously the ability to be able to use it for precedent system. So would you also be sort of utilizing it for a sort of a precedent bank where, you know, you might have drafted a fantastic material adverse change clause and you really need to go back and look at it?
So you can use and set up some of these collaboration platforms in any way that you kind of want. It really depends on how the firm has got them all aligned, I suppose. But yeah, it's definitely somewhere that you could put a knowledge bank, or I use it for capacity planning as well. So team management, task management, that kind of thing. Yes. So as this sort of client portal perspective, you know, storing data for a client that might not have a sophisticated IT system as well, and you know, they can access historic things that they're doing, current things that they've done, you know, all sorts of stuff, and it all be linked together, so that they can see where all work is for that we have for them, and maybe that they even add extra things if they're paying a subscription for it or something like that. It becomes part. So we would really get under the skin of the client then, because, you know, it makes the relationship a lot stickier when we're kind of linked in that way through our tech.
So this is I'll get slapped if I don't say it. You'll allow me a one sentence plug then for one of our products, which is just so happens to be exactly in that space. I'll keep it really brief. We do have a product called Queryable Contracts QC. And it's intended, Radhika, to do exactly what you kind of wanted to do. It uses machine learning to pick up, categorize, classify documents according to clause type, and even those values within specific clauses, such that in theory, instead of waiting, because I mean, the number of diligence exercises I did at, I've already said Skadden, so I won't say an unnamed law firm, but for clients where, you know, there was just a great deal of reading, a huge amount of client money spent on wading through contracts, trying to find material adverse change or change of control or something like that, or even just the simple value, the cap on a liability for a particular thing. And what we want to do is automate all of that. So by simply uploading it, it is then categorized using machine learning, and then you can query it by simply, you know, typing in a what you want to find, and it will give it back to you. So there are solutions there. We are certainly working on it, and I think we've identified that as a real key pain point for a lot of our customers and a lot of people across in-house private practice. It's just an obvious point that people want solved, really.